just want to, before we start, I wanted to say thanks to everyone who's here, a lot of former students, some friends, and the cover designer for They Sit and Hex Howl, and one of our blurbers, Mary. So thanks so much for being here. We're actually going to share a screen. I think it's easier to read, and I hate looking at myself while I'm reading. So I'm going to share that so y'all can read along. And as I'm sharing this, the artwork is by one of my best friends here in Chicago, Kim Ambrose. Let's see. So Jackie, oh, you want me to start? Okay. I'm just trying to
get the slideshow going.
Yes. Okay. So before we get started, Jackie and I have been collaborating for a very long time, and we find ourselves coming back to the sonnet over and over again because it feels so dialogical, the she said, but we've also done a long series of self-portraits because we're very interested in multi-vocality and bringing in other people's voices. I think we're both very citational and salutational poets. So we're always giving homage to the writers who have influenced us and our predecessors. And this particular poem, sonnet, sort of gives homage to one another because we're drawing on the language from both of our sort of differing lexicons. Hex Howl. You studied the orange girls, cinema gazes, wounded bodies and angles that wolves unbend. I looked through the eyes of chameleons, the nightmare houses they inhabited with crystallized skins, pebbled and primordial, shedding their way into waking. You and I were told to swallow our hexed howling, refuse the reptilian and the mammalian, unless it's tame, you know, cow-eyed with a roundness eager for petting. Now we do the refusing. Now we flame in the celluloid dark, a primal rewinding where the wolf and the lizard let loose the elemental code to our riling.
Okay, so as Simone mentioned, we riff off each other's language, and we also riff off poets whom we love and whose work we admire. And this next poem is one of a series. We've done these self-portraits in which we're also playing with the notion of a kind of a Picasso-esque Cubist notion of the self-portrait because we're collaborating, so there's two of us, and then we have this third person as well. So the three of us make one self-portrait, as it were, and through borrowed and dialogic language. So self-portrait lined by Rosario Castellanos. I am from a far shore, from another region, storied in a language of brine slick stone. Here, sunk in the evening's socket, malls were, marking the dark with a discordant beauty. Everything else has stopped. Night has sown the wind into a funeral wrap, and the dawn will drown itself in the pastel smear. No traveler is a narrative unto herself, each with sentences searing, curses thrown over shoulders like split-flecked salt. Here, scars sharpen into basalt, pretending to mask the marring with shine, like a lure meant to disguise its danger. But I carry a landscape sketched from a lexicon written into my skin, the margins extending toward a bright-edged cartography, a late voyage beyond wreck into revival.
Self-portrait line by Alejandro Pizarnik. I am sad in the night of wolf fangs, subdued by a heat so fleshy it could be a dying animal, could breed with its own seething, then eat its young and still sink into extinction. If breeze, if light can't teethe this melancholy into a new folio of beaming, then what of singing? When bleeding marks the skin into a new map, what crawling forward to where? I seek a cool to suck in against this furred humidity, depression's cleaver. A rot that can't be seen or sung into ether as I sketch outlines of a different being, one more than mouth, the feral eased. But day will come, I'll creep quieter than a bird watcher beyond this body's bruised cartography, its broken tongue toward the tender hum.
Another series that we started developing are these portraits as landscape. So again, playing with that notion of multiple selves and multiple voices, but going back to the sonnet form. Portrait as landscape, dear dark garden. Outside, lining the hushed front yard, dogwood and cherry blossoms peak to petal cascades, hiding more basement girl-held horrors. The pastoral says nothing of rot. The suburban, silent about ruin. But the girls speak of shatter, of strangle, of broken teeth, of more danger. The body bent acutely into shame. Dear dark garden, where you buried me, where you watched my bare feet slipping, his ropey arms grabbing, his full body falling on my trunk, breaking limbs with an inarticulate hiss. Say now how I was blackened under shovel, crushed into loam. Backyard afterlife, a new rage, an old, old wrong.
Pressed. On a sheetless mattress, immobile and undone, I was marked for ruin. I drowned in dread, became a stain, a container of shatter, of I don't matter. I'm told to muzzle that memory with pillow plush and smother all the old malice carping, as I'm pressed into performance, pushed to play that old game perfectly. Now I turn the mouth into spewing glass, the anatomy of a rupture. I burn, I bellow, I say no, I say no, I say no. This is the season of the scalpel, not nostalgia. This is the year of scraping out hauntings. I said no. Now I shove that ghost into the fold, press back, iron the sheets of my choosing.
Rebuttal. Against the grinding fever of suppressed song, against the muzzle searing, sound is a muscle. The body's rebuttal, a kind of clamoring held to see. Against siren women, against cliches cacophony, we keep spinning, spooling counterpoint, contrapuntal, the contraband of roots, radical, fractal, optional, historical. Drink this, sing this. Our tongues will not be bridled as though miniature ponies put out to pasture, nor will our tales be jeered as old wives blather. Against hush, hush, tisk, tisk, we stream melodies through barbed wire, even when vexed, breathless as popped balloons. Even then, our sound surges through Hex into galloping him.
And we'll close with this one. I always make a joke that all women need an Eve poem and a Medusa poem. And of course, I've done both. So this is our Eve poem, Against Teleology. They made Eve an event, a teleology we've teethed too many mouths upon, jawing uneven through supposed apple skin. We've seeded and seeded enough gnawing on our bones by canonized men. Let fang become fallout, reverse this ache, this sorry. Let bees shimmer inside our eyes instead of men's glory. Let's mouth a modern story. Revise every exodus, each line of dread they put upon us in sackcloth or satin. We took the garden with us. Now the gavel is our Godhead. We'll not be suckled or bled to ghost again. We're the heart's rattle, razored at our core, full of sharp, full of sheen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you so much.